Good morning. I hope everyone's had a wonderful week, and I'm so excited about our speaker today. And I've already had people say I'll be definitely listening in today. And we have Carey Deer with us, and she's a dear friend, and I actually a personal trainer I've been using regularly, and referred lots of other great friends who are they just keep going back and back. And Carey, just to introduce her, she was born and raised in Hawaii. She's a fully certified instructor in Balanced Body Pilates, Geratonic Expansion System, bar, and is a Pilates Suspension Method, which is a Pilates Suspension Method. But if there's something out there that's popular in the market, she knows how to do it. Plus a lot of other exercises and equipment. I mean, it never gets boring with Carey. She's always looking for the newest and the best program out there for her clients. And welcome. And today our topic with Carey, I know everyone's out there busy working, going to functions, Christmas festivities, etc. And I bet your exercise routine's suffering a little bit. So we've brought Carey in today to talk about staying mobile and active during the Christmas season when time is very limited. So Carey, on that note, I'll let you go ahead.
Thank you. Yes, I was thinking that we get so busy in the holidays, and you're busy at work and you think you're going to skip your workout because you've got to get Christmas shopping done, things set for the home. So there are things that you can do when you are sedentary at home. You don't have to be inactive, or if you're at work or any time of the day, literally, you should be moving. So there's not just an hour you're making for yourself, but all day long you can incorporate movement, even when you're driving. So I was thinking today I would do a chair workout and start from the bottom up. So I was thinking I'd start with the feet. So let's say you're sitting in the office and you're on your calls all day long. Here's what you could be doing. Heel lifts, seated. So if I move my chair back to see my feet, sit with yourself tall. Think about your hips being over your shoulders and your abdominal cavity being pulled in, so you have the support, equal strength on the front and back of your body. Place your hands on your thighs, so you're pressing down for some additional resistance. And then you can simply lift and lower your heels. With every lift, you're tracking your heel behind your second toe, so you're getting maximum foot articulation. All the toes of the feet are staying on the ground. You'll do about 10 to 20 of those. And then place your heels together and your toes apart. So you're now in external rotation, and you can target the muscles differently. You'll lift and lower your heels, attempting to keep the heels together, or if they part, don't worry about it. Just mobilize. 10 to 20 of those. Then come into internal rotation, where your knees are together, your heels are apart, and do another 10 to 20 of those. Again, I'm pressing down on my thighs, creating some resistance, and I'm starting to feel a lot of heat in my muscles of my calves and in the front of my shin. And then when you're finished with those, simply place your feet down, and you want a little bit of a stretch. So you walk your foot back and try and ankle your heel down, take your other leg forward and lean forward for a little bit of stretch. While stretching there, you'll internally and externally rotate your leg just a little bit, so you'll feel a stretch in all the muscles behind the calf. And then you'll change sides. This foot walks in, so it gets a nice stretch. This foot extends forward. You can feel this all the way, and you lean. You can feel this all the way into your hamstrings on all three heads. So that's a nice way to start. And then you'll step together. So next I want to target the inner and outer thighs. So I have some props with me. If I start with the outer thighs, I simply have a belt, and I'll walk my feet into that belt and press my legs so there's resistance. And now I'm just pressing out. Again, I'm sitting tall, and then I'll add an exhale, so my lower abs are sinking in with every press out. And now I'm using the external rotators on the outside of my thigh to move this band. This is challenging in a really nice way. I would target 10 to 20 of those. And then I would take the band off and want to target the inner thighs. So I just have a ball with pillow with me today, but I'm going to fold in half so I can create some space between my thighs. Again, I'm going to sit up tall, pull my abdominals in, and simply squeeze and squeeze. You'll start to feel a little perspiration, which is nice, but this isn't overly challenging. It's actually pretty lovely. And I would do 10 to 20 of those. And then take that out. And we'll do some extension of our legs. So as I sit nice, tall, and proud, I'm going to come to the ball of my foot. You notice that my knee is higher than the other one. That's an ideal. It could be starting here, but let's try this. And as I extend my leg forward, I'm coming to all the way straight. And I'm trying to keep my toe off the ground, but I can also touch it down each time. And extend. And bend. Extend. And bend. I would do 10 of those, hold the last one, and lift for 10. And add an exhale, and you'll feel tons of abs with every lift. And then place that foot down and do the other one. Extend and bend, finishing in extension, and lift for 10. And when I finish those, place my foot down, and I feel a nice burn in my quads. Now I want to challenge my abs seated, so I can extend my leg once again, and widen and narrow, widen and narrow. About 10 of those. And you'll feel the oblique muscles challenge. You'll feel those nice long quad muscle challenge. And then do the other side. Lift, extend, widen, and narrow. Widen and narrow. When I finish those, overturn my leg. I would like to work a little bit more on the hip, the outer hip rotator. So I want to lift my foot up and then step wide and step narrow. Step wide, like I'm hopping over a block. And I would do about 10 of those. And then the next side, tap. Each time finding a nice lift and lower. And now I want a little stretch, so I'll take my legs wide and just press out on the sides of them with the soles of my feet together to lengthen the quads. Nice, moving on to the abs. I could do seated abdominals all day long by simply sitting up nice and tall. If I want to mobilize my spine, I can take my hands to the outside of my thighs and feel nice and tall like I'm arching my back, and then work my inner thighs and my abs with my hands inside and round my spine. Outside, arch my spine, sitting nice and tall. Inside, round my spine. Let me show you that from the side. I'll sit up nice and tall, arch my spine and press out of my thighs. And then hands inside and round my spine. Outside, grow taller. Inside and narrow. You could just sit at your desk and arch and curl your spine. And this is a lot of work. And I would target 10 to 20 of those. If I want to do a little bit more range of motion, I can then take my hands to my sides or my hands to my temples and simply side bend and come upright and side bend and come upright. If I didn't want to do that at the office, I can take my hands at my sides and just laterally bend. Kind of delay the head and stack the spine one vertebrae at a time. And then do the other side. And keep going. About 10 of each. And the other side. Then I want to add some rotation. I could rotate. So I'm trying to keep my hips pressed forward, but mobilize right at my waist and twist and find center. And twist and find center. So seated abdominals. And if I had the space to do a larger range of motion, I could take my hands to my temples, side bend, and then round forward. And side bend and come up. And then reverse that, side bend, round forward. Side bend and come up. I would target 10 of those. I'm checking my time, so I can give you a 10-minute workout. And then I could sit back down and find 2 water bottles. And I did weigh these. They're just 1 pound each. But the challenge doesn't have to be huge to be effective. So if I hold on to my water bottles, I can lift and lower my arms and target the front of my shoulders. If I wanted more of a challenge, I could stay here and lift up an inch and down an inch, up an inch and down an inch. That targets the front. Now I want to target the side of my shoulder. So I can lift and lower and lift and lower. You could stay up here and do little lifts, lifts. It's already burning. Maybe 10 of those. And then lower down. Now if I want to work the muscles of the side of my upper spine. I could drive my elbows past my waist and widen and narrow. This is really good for rotator cuff. Just widen and narrow. I could hold my arms wide with my elbows potentially past my waist and squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. I would do 10 to 20 of those. And I could also punch out and target that same muscle a little bit differently. Just a little bit away from the body. 10 to 20 of those. I would still try and hold on to this position, but tip my elbows back and my weights forward and pull my elbows back. Here I'm trying to get my shoulder blades to touch and come apart. Touch and come apart. And maybe hold that touch. That really works your postural muscles and makes you feel like you can stand and walk tall all day long. And then releasing that, I could take my arms up to shoulder height and lift my weights up and widen and narrow here. Widen and narrow. I could hold this wide position, again, working my postural muscles, tip my weights a little bit forward and then pull them back. Tip them forward and pull them back. I would target 10 to 20 of those. I would hold that nice position with right now I feel the shoulder blades against my rib cage and I can lower and lift. So now we've moved the scapula in all ranges of motion. And then lower it down. I do 10 to 20 of each of those things. And that would feel like a nice workout, so I'd want to stretch. I take my arm forward across my body. Notice my hips are staying square. I'm getting this nice stretch in the muscles that I worked. Then I could take my arm and place it between my shoulder blades and pull my elbow back behind me, back, 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 and then lean to the side. And I would do both sides. And then just to finish with a little mobility, I'd place my legs a little bit wider than my hips. And as we started the arching and curling, I could arch forward and round back. Open up, sit nice and tall and arch forward and round back. Now my back is stretching. That feels so lovely. Arching forward and rounding back. I would target 10 of those. And don't get too complicated or too involved in the specifics of the movement. Just to mobilize the spine is what you're thinking of. And then sitting it nice upright. And I'd finish with 10 deep breaths. Just inhaling through the nose, expanding the rib cage, and exhaling through the mouth, driving the belly into the spine and contracting the abdominals. Inhale through the nose, expanding the rib cage, and exhaling. And now I just feel grounded, settled, and ready for my day.
Oh, that was amazing and so effective, right? And you could do that in what, 10 or 15 minutes on a daily basis?
15 minutes in anywhere. You know, you could also work on balance and simply stand up. Let's say you're in a line, you've been shopping all day and you're in a line at a store and you want to work. All you need to do is take one leg off the ground, weight shift, press the big toe down and balance. And then the other side. Maybe tip a little forward and back. There's just so much you can do. We can come up with a variety of ideas to share.
Wonderful. Thank you for sharing that with us, because I know personally myself, it's that balance right now, and you want to get out there and just feel body good, but you're just so busy and, you know, you feel quite lethargic sometimes. You go, whoa, how do I wake my senses and my focus up? And that obviously is a wonderful thing to do on a daily basis, just to, you know, look after your body and spirit and mind, right?
Exactly. Movement throughout the day is key.
Very well, thank you. And before we go, we're going to share Marianne's photos that we do every week. And her theme this week is, you know, all the beautiful flowers, and it's feeling a lot like Christmas, she says. And she's sharing with us these beautiful heart-shaped anthuriums, and I love the pink anthuriums. It's stunning, of course, here. And then, of course, she's the contrast of deep maroon and soft lavender, she says, create a regal-looking hibiscus. And all these photos, Carey, my agent Marianne, actually takes this. And I know you're a big flower person yourself. Yes. Stunning in a vertical line of brightly coloured bromelias. Welcome guests and add cheer to the entry of an iconic hotel, she mentions here. And then, of course, what says holiday more than a festive hibiscus at a tropical resort? And we're very lucky, of course, to have such amazing weather, and then celebrate Christmas on top of it. But thank you for being with us today. That was amazing. And we will catch up. I'll see you next week.
Take care.